night. There was a lot of people coming through, a lot of people that probably needed the Lord, and I hope we witnessed some of them. I was happy I got to witness to a couple of people I hadn't seen in many times, but also on the way home I had to ask for some forgiveness because there's some people come through I hadn't talked to that I should have. When I was studying for this lesson this morning, and this week, I was looking at how many people there were in the world. I just got curious, and I just said, we're going to go, and I'll start it off right. We're going to Matthew chapter 7. It's really familiar, but I was thinking about how many people there were when Jesus was doing the Sermon on the Mount. I was just thinking how many people there were, and you go back in history, and I just started researching, and there was it was like between 1.5 to 150 to 300 million people during that sermon in the world. That wasn't just where he was at, but in the world. And I compared it to where we're at today. There's 8.5 billion people in our world today. A lot of people to witness to. And I started feeling good about myself. Well, that's the reason we donate to missionaries and stuff. And I was just feeling really good about that this week. And I said, when I donate money to a mission, I said, that's what it's for. I felt good about that. And then last night, there was a gentleman come through that I had heard prayers for, that he was on his deathbed. And it was unbelievable to me that I had not, and he walked through that last night. Unbelievable to me. But yet I had not been to his house to ask him to come to church. When we had our visitation request here, I ignored it. I didn't go. I felt like I was too busy. I felt like my life was too busy. I was wrong. I'm not too busy. Sorry, I didn't mean to get emotional, but that's who I am. But there was several people coming through here last night, and I was thinking how we reach people all over the world. I was feeling good about that, but yet I failed to reach people within a mile of our church, 2 miles of our church, my neighbors. It's troubling, and I forgot where I was at. So I had to ask forgiveness for that last night. Sometimes the Lord will do something to open your eyes. He will open your eyes, and this is what I needed to do. But I can before we go into this, I just encourage you. We can help people surely through missions and stuff. We're a Missionary Baptist Church, and I know we run some money through missions and stuff, but we got missions here at home that we've neglected. But it was a blessing to hear. First of all, it was a blessing to see that young man come through last night, and I thought to be honest with you, I thought he would never. Just the way they were talking, he would never been. He had 3 strokes. He was a friend of my brother. First thing he said to me, he said, "I miss you, brother." He was a good man. He talked to me, and I hadn't. My brother's been dead over a year, and I hadn't talked to this man about it. And he said, "Your dad always talked to me. Your dad always come and talk to me." Boy, I felt about this little, but it's a lesson. I've learned it, so hopefully the Lord will help me do better with that. Yeah. So anyway. So the Sermon on the Mount, and this is one of the most familiar, and just because it's familiar don't mean we always follow it. That's for sure. Sometimes it's good to hear the familiar, and I'm getting the Kleenex. I can't hardly see. But, sometimes that's hard to review the familiar, and starting out teaching it seems like low-hanging fruit a little bit, but after you start reading it, there's just stuff that comes to you, and it just starts making more sense as it did last night, and stuff like that. But I thought I would share that with you before I got started, and I hope that we can all learn from that. Sometimes our experiences help other people learn to do things a little different in their life. Because I didn't, for 58 years old, I never thought about it that way until I started reading. And then that young man passed by, and I have never even tried to come out and visit someone like that in this community, and I got to do better. So and I was just thinking again, Sermon on the Mount. So they say there were 5,000 people during the Sermon on the Mount, and this is just one part of it. But I'm a thinker, sorry, but I'm having to wear a microphone to talk to maybe 30 people here today. How did the Lord communicate during the Sermon on the Mount? 5,000 people, that's a lot. That takes up quite a space, not huge. But I assume that the Lord, it was provided for him and maybe passing the word. But, the world's changed a lot. The world's changed a lot. I feel a little inadequate in it sometimes, but we always find a way. If they had a microphone and a speaker system, I'm sure it would have been used, but I don't think that was available at that time. But I would say that they probably had people stationed among the group and they were passing the word on. I don't know. Maybe the Lord's voice was just so loud that it carried over, but I don't know how it was. But it's just something we think about. My wife says I'm a bearer of useless information, but there's some of it right there. So we'll start right here in chapter 7, Matthew. Judge not, lest ye not be judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with that, what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thy eye, and behold, a beam is in thy own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thy own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. Give not which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye the pearls before the swine, lest I trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you. Well, it's pretty simple there, Be careful about what you're accusing someone else of when you're ignoring what you've done in your own life. It's easy. I'm guilty. Again, I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to show you. I'm guilty of this. I'm not perfect, but I have judged people. I've judged people in my time and work. I judge people. I have done, but I have. Since trying to get back in church, I'm starting to get closer to the Lord. I've done better with it. But even at that, you'll find yourself getting back in old habits. It's hard. It's hard. But if you listen to what the Lord has to say right here, we're going into a time of. It should be always a time of giving, but we say Thanksgiving and Christmas is the time of giving. We're about to start handing out baskets down here next few weeks. We'll be handing baskets out. I don't know if y'all were part of that last year, but it was really a blessing to see the people come through. Unfortunately, I'm not telling that this is. Unfortunately, there was people that said, "Well, I don't know if this person needs that. Why are they coming through?" That's not us to question. It's us to give and do God's work. But why am I judge? Why would anybody judge somebody to like that? But what we're trying to do is give and help people. And that's what the world needs, and that's what the Lord wants us to do. I just find it hard to believe that we get ourselves there sometimes. But usually when we're judging somebody, we're trying to put something that we've done behind us. It makes us feel a little bit better about what we've done in our life and stuff. But to me, that's one of the hardest things to do, to not judge. But we should be showing ourselves as a better person, no matter who it is. If it's somebody that you work with, if it's someone that you go to church with, or if it's someone your neighbor or whatever, they probably don't do. Sometimes people don't do things exactly the way you do it. They may have been raised different, whatever. We go through that, but there's times in our life that we have to look past that, and we have to just show what the God's love is. If you've been saved by the grace of God, there should be no problem identifying what God's love is and how to show that to everyone. I'll use an example. I have 68 employees right now that work for me. 68 employees. Of those 68, I have 3 people that spent time in Brushy Mountain. I knew it when I hired them. They were honest about it. I hired them. They're great workers. They've been there several years. One of them has twin boys that are the same age as my daughter, but it was in Brushy Mountain. And one day he came in my office and we were sitting and talking. And it's easy to judge those people. It's easy to judge those people. But he said, I really appreciate the opportunity here. And he said, I went to prison because I didn't feel like I had a choice. And I said, what do you mean you didn't have a choice? You had choices. You always have a choice. He said, have you ever been hungry, Steve? I said, have you ever went have nothing to eat? I said, no. My mom and dad I had food. It may not be a lot, but I had food. But he said, when I was 16 years old, my mom put me out of my house, put me out on the street. He said, I just didn't go back to school. He said, I run out of money. That my family he said, my aunts and uncles are in worse shape than my family. He said, I had nothing. He said, I didn't want to ask for anything to anybody, so I started stealing. And taking stuff. I said, you did? He said, well, I got caught. He said, I've been in and out all night. He said, then when I got 19 years old, I got caught and I went to prison. He didn't stay a long time. He was in there 3 or 4 years. But he said, while I was in there, I got saved. That's what he said. Now, I could have easily turned that guy away during the interview, and I said, God, he's been in prison. We don't need that kind here. I could have easily done that. But there was something about this man that I felt good about. But that was the first time that we'd had that conversation. And he told me, he said, I know you got a young daughter like my boys are. He said, my heart would rejoice to see them saved. He was telling me about where they go to church and stuff. And you know what? I could have turned my back on him, but he'd probably found another job somewhere else. But it was encouraging to hear him. And I could have judged him, and I could have said, we don't need this man here. He don't need another chance. When we're thinking about those kinds of things, when you see people that's made mistakes in their lives or maybe need a job, now what would happen if I turned those people away and they couldn't get a job anywhere? They're probably going to go back, right? They're probably going to get back in trouble again because you have to eat. You have to provide for family. So that's how I think about stuff. I'm sorry if I use my own personal experiences out of it, but that's how I think about it. And I think it is so important that we give everybody a chance. And some people you can give a chance, I understand, but you just have to use your best judgment and ask God. Ask God the right thing to do. So does anybody have anything on that they want to share with that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on a tangent, but that's I relate to my life, and so that's part of my life. I've been there 25 years, and it's just a huge group of people that are different. They're just different people, different cultures, different way that they live, different way they're brought up. And to me, I just think that's a wonderful way to get experience and learn how the world is out there. The world is not like it was when I grew up in Union County on Hickory Valley Road. It's a lot different world there. I've never been to there was no malls to go through. The first person I ever seen of color, I was probably 15 years old when I was at Sears down here off Central. We were there for something, and there was a lady that waited on me in there. I'd never even been around it. We just wasn't part of it. So there's a different world out there, and there's different people that, to be honest with you, I'm glad I've got to be part of their lives. And, so we have to think about that stuff. When we're sitting back and judging that person shouldn't be here, that person shouldn't have opportunity here. The world of 8.5 billion people has an opportunity. If I'm reading what it says in this Bible, they'll have an opportunity to bow before God. Am I right about that? So think about that when somebody might be questionable. Everybody has a story, including me. It goes right back here. So number 7 here, it says, ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. For what man is there of you whom his son ask bread, will be given him a stone? Or if we ask a fish, will he give him a serpent? It's just saying, pray. Ask for it. Pray. God will make the right decision for you. You've got to be what I'm understanding is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to ask the Lord on every aspect of my life. If I'm living as a Christian, when we get on down here, but if I'm living as a Christian, I should be, any decision I make, I probably should be praying to the Lord and say, what should I do, Lord? Which direction should I take this? Does that make sense to everybody? Is that what we should do? That's what I think we should do. I think I've done that. My life's went a lot smoother. Because when I tried to do it on my own, guess what? I failed.
many, many times. The job I have right now, when I went into it, I've tried to do, but when I started praying and thanking God for what He had gave me, it started being a lot better. When I started showing Him, say, Lord, I appreciate what you're doing for me. When I started doing that, it changed my life. It changed. When I go to work and I spend time praying in my office on my break sometimes, when something ain't going right, when I'm upset, I have a horrible temper. I've had to ask the Lord to forgive me for it. When I get upset, I'll go in my office and shut the door and pull the shades down and I start praying. Guess what? When I come out, I'm not the same person. I am not the same person. I am not the same person. Definitely the day that I got saved over at Aylerdale when I was a 10-year-old boy. But when I got out of church for a while and turned my back and I come up here and I got right here and I said, here it is, Lord, I'm done. I'm ready to serve you. Guess what? Things went smoother. The temper went away much. It went away. And it gave me something to go to when I needed trouble. So, to me, that's everything. This chapter, this whole chapter right here, it is a wonderful way to live your life if you just listen to it. But pray every day. Ask for what you need. Ask if you're going to sell your house tomorrow. I fully believe sell your house. It really has nothing to do with God, but say, God, is this the right thing? If I'm my family better, is this what I really need, or am I just doing it because Steve wants a new house or Carrie wants a new house? But I mean, I'm happy, and I'm just saying. But you understand what I'm saying? I think you should involve the Lord in every decision you make. I certainly do. And I know people that do that, and I know people that don't. They don't mix it, but why not? Why not? Why not ask the Lord? That's what we're here for. When we walk in these doors right here, are we coming in here just to sit? Well, I'm coming in here to lift His name up. That's what I'm coming in here for. But I'm also coming in here to show Him that I love the Lord, and I'm showing everybody else that there's something out there that's better. And that's what I see. Sorry, but get here and it says, if ye, when being evil, know how to give good gifts, and unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things and to them that ask Him. I mean, my father was great to me. My father and mother were just wonderful to me. I had everything I wanted. Were we wealthy? No, never. But we were happy. I was a happy person. My brothers and sisters were happy. Mom was happy, and that's the most important thing. But Mom was always happy. But guess what? If being that right there. But if you ask the Lord, just look what He can give you. Look what He's already gave me. He's gave me eternal life. When I leave this world, when I die, I'm not dying. I've defeated it. I'm going to be able to go see Dad. I'm going to be able to see Brother. I'm going to be able to see whoever's gone before me that I love. He may not be in the same capacity as we know. I have no idea. I just know there's a better place. I just know that. And so that's coming. And that was what Tim was talking about in the sermon. It's coming. And we should be looking forward to it. If we know that, then that's what it's all about. We have defeated death. Even though this is, like I said this morning when I come through, we're passing through. We're just passing through, and so quickly. It is so quickly. I blink my eyes, and my daughter's going to be 10 years old next month, and just pass by, and it gives me perspective of how quick it is, And so it's going. But thank the Lord that when I was a 10-year-old boy, that I accepted Jesus in my heart. And when I did that, I had to be sure. And we have a daughter that has not been saved, and she's 10. And I don't press her. We don't press. We don't. And my dad pressed me, but it just came to me. It started coming to me. I was sitting back there. There was a message. Dad was giving a message, and we were talking about being saved. And there was preachers that come in during revivals, and every little bit of that hit me. And then one day I said, I am lost. I am lost. And if I died today, I would go to a fiery hell. So it has to come from Graceland. I hate to use my daughter's name, but it has to come to her naturally. It can't come through me. It can't come through Mom. It can't come through Carrie. It can't come through Caitlin. It has to come through her relationship with Christ and what she wants to do. and have the conviction in our heart. And so, I know that's getting off a little bit what we're doing, but does anybody got anything you want to say? Go ahead. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Bless her. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Appreciate that. In verse 13 it says, Enter ye at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. It's easy, the wide gate's going to lead to your destruction, to hell, and of course, if you're, it's easy, but the hard part is that living as a Christian is not easy sometimes. Sometimes you have to make decisions in your life but if you're just following God's instructions, then that usually leads you where you need to be. But that'll lead you to eternal life. There's a difference. You got your choice: eternal destruction or eternal life. So that's run. I appreciate you listening to this morning. I'm sorry to get emotional, but it's just going to be that way. If I'm going to teach, I'm going to be emotional. That's just because the Lord has done too much for me. It's just hard not to for me, and I can't hold it back because I know where I was at. I know where I was at, and now I know what the Lord's done for me and what He's going to do for me. He's too many blessings for me to ignore, and I know there's more yet to come, and I'm anxious to find out what that's going to be. And I hope we all have that same intent. Pray for Brother Rocky. He's going to give our message, and I'm so this morning, but I'm excited about him giving the message. And usually, the only time I ever see Rocky is at a funeral, so this will be the first time I've never seen him at a funeral. But he was part of my brother's funeral. Worked with my brother for years, and I'm just excited about him giving the message this morning. All right, yeah, I appreciate it.